What's up YouTube? I'm back again with another video, and today I'm going to take a closer look at Rolls-Royce's institutional ownership, their short interest, and some other interesting statistics that might help you make a decision on whether you want to invest in this company. If you like these types of videos, please remember to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate all the feedback. You guys are awesome. And without more to say, let's get right into it. If you're new, Rolls-Royce is not a car company. They're actually a civil aerospace and defense contractor that basically makes jet engines and massive turbine engines for naval vessels around the world. You can read all about it right here if you want. In my last video, I gave you guys a quick peek at the institutional owners, and I noticed that you couldn't actually see the date for some of these purchases, so I'll give you another look at these. I'm on a website called fintel.io. If you want to go look at it for yourself. And I'm not sponsored in any way by this website or anyone else. This is just something I stumbled across and I figured you guys might want to take a look. According to this website, there are 225 institutional owners for Rolls-Royce, holding about 2,211,380,406 shares, roughly. And that's obviously changing every day. Some of the largest shareholders include AGTHX, Growth Fund of America Class A, AEPGX, Euro-Pacific Growth Fund Class A, VWIGX, Vanguard International Growth Fund Investor Shares. I actually have this in my retirement, which makes me happy to see that I'm investing in Rolls-Royce in other ways as well. Alrighty, so one thing I want to mention is that if you see arrow that is highlighted green, that is a new position for that particular hedge fund. If you see a row highlighted in red, that is a closed position, so a company that has sold out. And I don't see any of those. Since the new year, you can see a lot of hedge funds have been putting tons of money into Rolls-Royce. And like I said before, all these green highlighted ones are brand new positions from new investors. You can see some huge purchases like 202 million shares for Vanguard International Growth. This is the one I was just talking about. So as I scroll up here, you can see just how many institutions are buying, and I know it's hard to see. You can pause the video if you want, but there are a lot of shares moving around. Another cool thing about this website is you can check the short interest. If you were subscribed to this website, they actually give a lot of these companies a short squeeze score, and you can read about that. So one thing I want everyone to fully understand is that this table below shows the number of shares of Rolls-Royce available to be shorted at a single leading prime brokerage. So this is not the total amount of shares available for shorting, but this is the total amount available from a single brokerage. Basically, a legitimate brokerage for professionals that actually allows people to short shares. Now, if you're wondering what a short is when an investor thinks a company share price will drop, so they borrow shares and sell them today, hoping that they can buy them again later down the road for a cheaper price and make a profit that way. They also show the short borrow fee rate, or the interest rate you'd be paying if you wanted to borrow those shares. Now, when I checked this yesterday, it was at 0.55%. So the interest rate's actually going down slightly. But you have to remember, this is just a single broker, and we don't actually know who they're tracking. One more thing that you should really pay attention to is the dates here. Clearly, this is not recent, 20 days ago. But if you were to check this daily and kind of look at all these numbers, you would see if it's gone up or down, if people are shorting, if they're not shorting, it kind of would help. But, you know, the main thing I want you to take away from all this is that 10 million shares is a drop in the bucket for Rolls-Royce. Currently, Rolls-Royce has 8.3 billion shares outstanding. And, you know, doing some simple mental math, basically, you would need 8.3 brokers, all maxed out at 10 million shares, completely shorted, just to equal 1% of Rolls-Royce's overall shares outstanding. As far as I'm concerned, this is a minuscule amount. And I don't really think many people are betting that the shares in this company are going to get much lower. If they are, we're talking pennies. When we go back to the institutional ownership, we really see just how many shares these guys are holding. You can look at the difference here between the buyers and sellers. Right here, we're looking at the sellers. These are the only companies, according to Fintel, that are selling Rolls-Royce. And this chart goes back to December 15th of last year. And you can see here that there's really not a lot of selling going on. The people that are selling, they're not selling a whole lot. They're going from 19,400,000 to 19,200,000. Very small percentages of the stock are actually being sold. And this could mean something, this negative 105, negative 64 shit, that could be your short interest. That could be who's shorting these companies, maybe that's who's doing it. I don't know for sure, so that you'd have to figure out on your own. But, why would there be a negative in front of these numbers? It makes sense, actually, that these negatives are the people shorting. But anyways, if we compare the sellers to the buyers, we can really see a huge difference in the sentiment. A lot of these companies are tripling down, 3 million to 13 million. Two different companies doing that, 26 million to 103 million. These are big numbers, 6 million to 27 million. That's almost a 5x. Well, it's a 4x, but still. 2 million to 5 million. If you want to go check this out yourself, go for it. You can look up all of these hedge funds and institutions to see what they're all about. But, this is a really bullish sign for me, and I don't think everyone's really catching on yet. So yeah, this website has a lot of interesting information, but just like any other news source, you have to take it with a grain of salt. You can't look at these numbers on websites like this and just, consider it at 100% truth. There's always stuff on the side that you don't see. And one thing I want to mention that I think a lot of people don't know about is you can actually trade options for over-the-counter stocks like Rolls-Royce. The thing about that is they're private. So you basically have to go out there and find another person willing to take the opposite side of that contract. And private agreements between two people are not necessarily public information, so there could be a lot of that going on. And it can happen for basically any over-the-counter stock. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some of that going on for Rolls-Royce because it is such a huge company. But at the same time, I don't think there's enough really floating around to make much of a difference, with 8 billion shares outstanding. But, you just have to keep that in the back of your head that there could be some stuff going on the side that a lot of these websites like this miss. So, take everything with a grain of salt. Hopefully you guys can learn something from this. And since I got you guys here, we might as well take a quick look at some Rolls-Royce news. You can see that Rolls-Royce is dabbling in cybersecurity. They're looking at a power grid in the Norwegian Sea. And they've also been contracted to, and not a huge deal, but they've been contracted to build the propellers for 20 new warships to be delivered in 2026 for the U.S. Navy. They will be manufactured in Rolls-Royce's recently upgraded Pascagoula, Mississippi foundry and will be some of the first work to utilize the newly installed state-of-the-art equipment and renovated facility. I've talked a bit about Pascagoula and, I did a whole video on Rolls-Royce in the USA and what they do here. Very important part of our military and a lot of militaries around the world. There have been some problems with older ships. I've talked about it in different videos. Luckily, none of it has been Rolls-Royce's fault. And, this is a positive sign to see that the U.S. government, the Department of Defense, is trusting Rolls-Royce with, the propulsion for these ships. Can't go anywhere without a propeller. So, anyways, that's about it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please remember to hit like and subscribe. I appreciate all the feedback. You guys have been awesome. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Stock Surfer, signing out.